as we celebrate the successful history-making NBA NBL Melbourne series, we turn our attention to a new exciting time for Australian basketball. A brand new in-season tournament kicks off tomorrow night as the evolution of the NBL continues. You're listening to NBL Now, thanks to Code Sports, the home of NBL coverage. I'm Kelsey Browne, joined today by Mr. Cam Gliddon. Cam, how are you over the other side of the country?
Yes, yeah. I'm in New Zealand, so over the ditch. I'm doing well and looking forward to what tomorrow's going to bring.
Very excited about the Ignite Cup games that we have coming up. We'll get to those shortly, but let me run you through the Ignite Cup. This is so exciting. I cannot wait for tomorrow night. $400K is up for grabs. It's the largest prize pool in NBL history. There's 20 new Wednesday night games that we get to see. All of this adds to the in-season ladder, but the Ignite Cup ladder will run separately as its own entity. New point systems, every quarter counts, so you've got to get those rotations right if you're the coaches. And as we know, Disney Plus and ESPN have jumped on as the streaming partner. I cannot wait for the games ahead. Let's jump straight into game one. It's one that you'll be commentating at, and you're very familiar with one of these teams. It's New Zealand and the Hawks. New Zealand, though, a really tough start to NBL 26. How worried are we about New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think they have dug a little bit of a hole for themselves being 0-4. In other seasons, you're probably not as worried. You could kind of see them digging themselves out and they're going to have time. But as we keep saying how competitive this league is, you don't want to leave your run too long. I'm really confident in the guys they've got. It's just a matter of how quickly they can make this swing and start putting wins on the board. So for them, I guess looking at the Hawks coming into town as a 0-2 team as well, they would be looking at this going, if it's going to happen and we're going to start this thing off, Wednesday's probably the night to try to do it.
From where they are at the moment on court, you've watched how they're going about it. Is there a way back? What is the way back? And what are the changes that need to be made? Or is there something that needs to flick in the coaching box, in personnel? Where are you seeing this change and what needs to happen?
Yeah, I guess for me as a former player, when I watch them play, there's a lot of little changes that need to be made, I think. And it's just, some of it's very simple. I guess running to your space, setting a great screen, making sure your teammates are eating and not really thinking about yourself too much. Just doing the little things consistently. We see in patches they play really well, but in patches they play very bad as well. And it's just extending those good patches by doing the little things. I don't think there's a need to replace anybody or make any changes. But I think individually they have to have a good look in the mirror and say, like, are we performing to our values and our trademarks? And are we doing the things that we're going to hang our hat on that are going to win games? And I think consistently right now they're not. But I think they can do it if they make a change.
What are you seeing from PJC's become a favourite for the NBL, an amazing player that we've had here for the last 2 seasons? He's in his 3rd season now at New Zealand, leading the league in assists. But what are you seeing from PJC at the moment?
Yeah, obviously I love him. He's a great player, great teammate, and does a lot for the club. Very marketable guy, very nice, like everything you'd want in an import. And because he's leading the league in assists, or that's what he's doing, it's kind of strange. They're not playing very well. They're not shooting very well, and he's still leading the league in assists and leading that program. So you can only imagine when this upswing happens and the guys start playing a bit freer with a bit more confidence and they've gelled a bit more. You can only see him going from strength to strength. But right now he's kind of holding it together. I can't imagine what it would look like right now if PJC wasn't playing or that rib injury he had early on in the year kept him out. It could be disastrous for him, but he's doing all he can right now as they're going through this teething process.
We know that often when teams are going through situations like this, potential stringing of losses together, that externally they can be presenting a really great front, but behind closed doors, there could be a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. Is there anything that's happening behind closed doors at the moment that you could shed a light on that potentially We're not seeing externally because we don't need to. They need to put on the front that they put on. But is there anything happening behind closed doors that is concerning or is something that potentially you could bring to light?
I am at training probably once a week there, and you know, as a coach trying to figure out how I can be a better coach, and as a sideline reporter trying to figure out what's going on and try to find some stories within it. I think the one thing I can say is how deeply they care about the poor start. If there's anything that's going on at training that the people wouldn't see is just the frustration within the group that it's not working because they're putting in the hard yards. They drill and drill and drill at practice. They go through their stuff meticulously, and it's just not transferring over at the moment. So if there's anything going on, it's mainly just frustration that at the training court, it's not moving to the playing court. So the only way out of that is to knuckle up and dig in deeper and try to fight your way out of it. I think I've talked to a couple of their players, and I think that first win's going to come, but it's probably going to be an ugly win. They're not just going to suddenly be this well-oiled machine that's going to make 33s and shoot at 70%. It's going to be an ugly win when they get that first one, and it's going to take a lot of heart to get it.
A win's a win. It doesn't matter if it's ugly or pretty. That doesn't matter in NBL. We know that. One person that has been huge for the start of their NBL career is JaVale McGee. He comes over 37 years of age. The Hawks, they've had a tough start to the season as well. But Cam, how do you see New Zealand stopping someone like JaVale in the form that he's in? And how have you seen his introduction into NBL?
Well, his introduction's been great. I mean, I think when you watch him in the NBA, he just kind of looks the same as the other guys in terms of height, athleticism, but he comes to our league and he just looks a foot taller. He can jump a foot higher. He's just on another level and such a great scorer. He's not forcing anything. And then when the other teams try to take him out of it offensively, he's a great passer too. So I think his skill set has transferred over so well. When it comes to the breakers trying to stop him, I don't know what you can do. He's shown in the other two games that he's a force. I think it might come down to one of those things where you try to limit JaVale as much as you can, but he's going to get his, and your focus really goes on the other four guys on the court at that time, and kind of live with what JaVale's doing and try to shut down the other four, which is a tough job when you've got Tyler Harvey out there as well.
We love that. The second game of the Ignite Cup, which we spoke about earlier, is Sydney versus Melbourne. Now, this has been a rivalry that in the last 3 years that I've been involved in the league, I have loved when these two teams match up. Two powerhouses of the league. It's the Dellavedova Cup. It's Delly up against his old team for the first time. That's always going to be spicy. But Sydney versus Melbourne, Kings, they're starting to find their groove. They got their win on the weekend. Davis, 28 in 29 minutes. Where are you seeing the Kings sitting at the moment?
Yeah, I think the Kings finding their groove is kind of yes and no for me. I think they're putting the ball in the hole at a better clip. They're playing better basketball, but I still think they need to unleash Xavier Cooks a little more. He's such a good facilitator with what he can do with the ball, his height, his speed, his athleticism. And you've got Delly and KD there who should have the ball in their hands a lot, but I think Xavier Cooks needs to jump in and take 33% of the ball as well because I think if they can make that little change, they can jump another level, and they've already got better since round one as well. So looking forward to seeing what they can do as a trio.
You're not back of house with the Kings, so I don't expect you to know the ins and outs of it. But from the outside, it seems like the Kings have had these really star-studded lineups the last 2 seasons and then just haven't been able to potentially put out what everyone has expected. They've gone and recruited huge in the offseason. Delly, KD coming into that lineup. Again, another star-studded lineup for NBL 26, but the gelling just isn't there. Where do you see teams finding the ability to gel together, and where do you think the Kings can find that little extra 1%?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. I think they're so talented and they're all in sort of the prime of their careers. Delhi's kind of towards the end, but he could play forever. Um, I think it's just sharing the ball and trusting that the ball is going to come back to you. They've played a lot of 1-5 pick and rolls with Suarez and a bit of dribbling between Katie and Delhi, but I think giving it, like I said, to Cooks and let him facilitate a little bit, letting the ball go to JG and let him come off some on balls and find himself. I think if they could have 5 guys scoring in that 10 to 20 mark, it's probably going to be better for them in the long run than having 2 guys scoring over 20, in my opinion. But I'm not the coach and I'm not at their trainings like you mentioned, so I don't know what the game plan is, but I just see so much talent on that floor that sometimes goes a little missing.
Yeah, we love that insight. The other end of the court is Melbourne United, and what a start they've had to this season. Dean Vickerman, he just never, ever fails. I cannot believe how they roll out every single year. Few concerns for them, though. Melbourne, they've got some injuries. Shea Illy with that hamstring potentially. Tyson Walker, we heard yesterday, has escaped serious injury for a thumb. Chris Golding, they've been without for their first 3 games as well. Big chance for him to potentially return this weekend. But if he doesn't return, is this the time that the Kings can get on top of a weakened Melbourne United? Or do you think Melbourne United are just so well drilled and so good that this game isn't like we expect it to potentially be on paper with these injuries?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's never a weak Melbourne United team. Like you say, Dean Vickerman's great at what he does. Like, he'll figure out a way to make them competitive, whether it's giving the ball to Milton Doyle even more and letting him be a bit more creative, giving Finn Delaney a bit more of a license. But yeah, they just, it's a next man up mentality, and you can see more minutes probably going to Dash as well, a little bit more to Tanner Krebs. And these guys are, well, Tanner's a proven NBL guy, and Dash just keeps getting better and better game on. So I guess you can kind of compare it to that Brisbane Tassie game. Brisbane's without so many guys, but Brisbane still have a real good crack at winning the game. So I kind of see it the same. I don't think Sydney are going, yes, we've got them weakened. We're kind of favoured for this thing. They'd both be going into it going, we need this win and we need to play our best to get it.
You mentioned Milton Doyle. What an impressive game he had on the weekend in the NBA NBL Melbourne series. I just thought he was hands down one of the best players out there. And if he ever wanted to get back or into the NBA, he didn't hurt his chances. For me, it's Dash Daniels, though. I'm so excited. He's a 17-year-old kid. I asked him pre-game one time, what's he doing with school? Where's he at with school? He's still currently studying and then also in a professional basketball program. For me, that blows my mind. And then to be able to produce the performances that feel really mature, really beyond his years. We know the name is synonymous with defense, but how have you seen Dash's start to his professional career? And you've seen the defensive side of things, but offensively, we saw some really great glimpses in that NBA game.
Yeah, I mean, his first step's quick. He can go from A to B in no time. His shot's still developing as it should be at his age. Like, it's not completely knocked down yet, but I'm sure he'll get there. And like we just spoke about, having Dean Vickerman being in your ear every single day is only going to accelerate everything for him. I saw a clip of Dean and Dash having a chat, and Dean was pointing out that he needs to see Dash's eyes more in the huddles, making sure he understands what's going to happen these next plays. And I think that's perfect for a young kid. Is we give you the leash. We know what you can do. We want you to go explore and be yourself out there, but make sure it's within the system and make sure you're taking in the advice these coaches are giving you. And yeah, I can only see, especially with the injuries to Walker and Illy, Dash taking on more responsibility and thriving under it too.
I know you're not supposed to have favourites in NBL, but gosh, Dean Vickerman is up there for me. Amazing insights into the Ignite Cup. Like I said, a really exciting time for NBL. I'm sure we're going to see some new things across the Wednesday night games, and there's 20 of them. I can't wait to get into it tomorrow night. But let's end the show with something a little bit fun. I want to talk about how you've seen the start to the season. I would love you to give me one team and one player you've loved so far this season, and one team and player that are struggling. Potentially you're a little bit worried about. Where does it sit for you, those sort of things?
Okay. Okay. Well, why don't we start? Should we start fun or not fun?
Start fun. I love ending on I love ending on what are we worried about? And then hopefully they turn around and bring out a huge performance and make us look silly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good to me. I guess for me, the team that, I mean, not surprising, but the team I'm pretty high on right now is the Jack Jumpers. For a team that have three brand new imports coming in, lose such a key guy in Jack McVeigh, um, lose an import already due to injury and have a replacement import come in and still be 3-1. It just speaks to the culture and how well they prepare and how well they get buy-in from their players. So very high on the Jack Jumpers at this early stage of the season. And my player that I'm a big fan of right now, and I've been a big fan of him for a while, one of my former teammates, is Tyrell Harrison. He just keeps getting better and better. And right now his stats 17 points per game. Sorry, 17.8. Let's call that 18. 10.3 rebounds on 75% from the field. These are just absurd numbers. I hope he maintains and finishes the year on a statistical line like that, because that's just outrageous.
I love that. Mine, very similar thoughts to you. I love Tassie at the moment. I didn't have them high on the ladder. Not that my predictions really matter. No one probably cares what I have to say about it, but Tassie weren't up there when I was starting the season. My player that I love already this season is also Jaron Riley. I I have absolutely loved what he's come out and done.
Yes.
Plus 45 on the court in his appearances. I don't think it's too long before we see him starting. Dante Russo-Nance has been getting that gig, but just with what Jaron really is doing at the moment, I've loved that. The other side of things, who are you worried about, team and player?
Well, first off, I got to talk about Jaron really real quick. I was in that huddle before he subbed in the first game against the Breakers, and Liafa had just hit 4 threes in a row, and John really subbed his son in specifically to guard Isaiah. So huge moment there is subbing a player in that sat the whole first 32 minutes of the game to defend the player that's currently giving him buckets. And he went in and done a good job, and also icing on the cake with the 3 ball. So props to him. For me, a team, I'm not worried about them, but maybe I am, is the Brisbane Bullets. So many injuries. Like, I just feel so bad for them. They've lost McDaniel and Norton so quickly, and those guys are the veterans of that club and know how to get wins. They're both championship players, and they need them in the lineup. And then to follow on with Freeman Liberty and Prather getting injured, it just seems that they've been cursed this first few rounds. But in saying that, they've also put up great performances when they've lacked those guys and just been, inches away from getting wins. And a player that I'm probably asking for a bit more of right now is probably Tyler Harvey. He's only played 2 games this year, so maybe I'm being harsh, but with a guy like JaVale McGee coming into the picture and demanding the ball a lot, Tyler Harvey's probably getting less looks than he has been the last few years. So looking forward to what he brings tomorrow night against the New Zealand Breakers. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see him hit his heights that we all know he can hit.
For me, it's the Cairns Taipans. As much as they've had a couple of really good wins, the losses have been quite large. When you think about that, that could be potentially worrying signs. And the other one for me, you and I are always on the same page, Tyler Harvey. I love Tyler Harvey. He's one of my favorites in the league, all first NBL team last season. But for me, it's around what's this team doing? What does this look like now post Trey Kell? What's Ja'Cory McLaughlin providing at the moment, and how much is that impacting Tyler Harvey? So I love the insights, Cam. Thank you so much for joining us again on NBL Now. Don't forget to head to codesports.com.au. CodeSports has all of your NBL covered like no one else. Expert analysis and insider access on and off the court. You can head to their website to hear all about it. Thanks so much again for your time, Cam, and let's get into the Ignite Cup. I cannot wait.